What up, B Squad? It's me, JB, and we are here today, you guys. So this is not a review of any. Well, I guess you could say it's a review of sorts, but it's not really a review. But it's just me talking about the situation that I saw over on the old TikTok. Well, I went on TikTok. I found it on YouTube, and I watched it. So it's this series where this young woman, her name is Reesa Teesa, and she has this 50-part series about the man that she married. And the series is titled Who TF Did I Marry, right? And before we go ahead and get into it, you guys, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel, you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your post notifications, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video, shall we? All right, you guys, so I will start out by saying that I know people are, getting a good key off of this and things of that nature. And what I will say for me is when I first heard about it, I was like, yeah, whatever. Didn't think too much about it. But then I was like, it caught on like wildfire. So I was like, okay, let's go down the timeline and see what it is. Then I realized it was 50 parts, and I was like, my God. And then I just went down the rabbit hole, right? And you just listen to it, and it's a cautionary tale, right? It's really sad, right? Because you think about you think about society, right? And society makes it so that people, especially when it comes to women, if you are over a certain age, people start asking you, girl, you ain't got no man, you ain't got no kids, when you gonna get married? Why you ain't got no kids? Why you, like, what's up with you? Like, why can't you keep a man? Why can't you get a man? Things of that nature. And I hate that happens, right? So, like I said, this is a cautionary tale because with this young lady, she met this man, and things that should have been red flags to her, she ignored them, and she continued on with the relationship. And I was just like, wow. Because when she first started, I was like, okay. And I was thinking to myself, like, you didn't catch the red, like, that was a red flag, right? Like a waving red flag. And it's like, she saw the red flag, but she's like, maybe that's blue. Maybe that's orange. Maybe that's purple. Like, that's literally how it looked and what it gave to me. My God, because there were just so many things in this, right? So if you guys watched it, it's about 4 or 5 hours, right? Because I started it on Sunday. Started it Sunday night, and I went to sleep, and I woke up Monday morning, and I went to work, and I started it Sunday. I don't know if I finished. I don't know if I went to work Monday and continued to watch it, or if I know for a fact I was at work yesterday watching it, right? And I told my friend about it, and she was like, I have been seeing it. I was like, girl, you got to get into it. Like, it's truly interesting. So she started it last night, and she was on part 5 when I last talked to her at 10 o'clock this morning. So we're going to go down because it's on Facebook, and someone summed it up very perfectly. So like I said, the woman's name is Reesa Teesa, right? Now, her ex-husband, who she calls Legion, right? She met Legion in 2020, just before the pandemic, right? You remember, COVID came through, the world shut down, everyone was, sheltered in place, quarantining at home, right? So she met the man 2 weeks before the shutdown happened, right? They went out on a date. And when they went on that first date, what happened on that first date, she should have took that as a sign from God, because on her way to the date, right? So she lives in Atlanta, by the way. On her way to the date, her tire blew out. Her tire literally blew out. So she called him. She told Legion, like, hey, my tire blew out. and so he met her where she was. He changed the tire. He took her to get another tire. He paid for the tire. They went to the date to the Cheesecake Factory, and 2 weeks they conversed. Now she said that they met. Now this would have kind of threw some alarms would have went off in my head, right? So now here's the thing. I don't know anything about Facebook dating. I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it. So I can't speak to Facebook dating because I don't know a damn thing about Facebook dating. But what I can say is I know on certain other apps, I don't know. So here's the thing: I don't use apps. I've used apps, but I've never used them to the point of trying to match with somebody. So I don't know how. I know like on Tinder, it's swipe left, swipe right, right. I've never used Hinge. I had downloaded Hinge at one point, but I never used it because I was like, I ain't interested in Hinge like that. So I don't know what Hinge does. And I don't know what Facebook dating does either because I don't use Facebook like that, right? I don't use Facebook. But they matched on Hinged and they matched on Facebook dating, right? Now she said on Facebook dating, so let's just say his name is Matthew, right? This is exactly what she said. Let's just say like his name is Matthew, and on one app he went by Matthew, right? On another app he went by Matt. I was like, okay, that's not a bad thing, but I was just kind of confused as to how did he match up with you on both apps? On both dating sites is the interesting thing, right? So, pandemic happens. You guys remember, world shut down, right? They were still talking, and it's only 2 weeks at this point that they've known each other. And so she was like, "Are we going? What are we gonna do about quarantine?" You go, "I'm gonna come to you. You gonna come to me." My friend and I had this conversation earlier today. When it came down to the pandemic and me quarantining, I stayed by myself. You guys remember my first apartment that I lived in. I was in that apartment by myself the entire time. Was I there the entire time? I was there the entire time. One of my friends did come and stay with me. He came and stayed with me in 2019. He came and stayed with me in 2019 just towards the end of the year, and he was out before the beginning of the year, right? But he did come back and stay with me for about a month or two in 2021. But nobody stayed with me in 2020, right? So I was just by myself in 2020. And the only thing that I was concerned about in 2020 is because of the fact that, we didn't know how long we were going to be having to do that. And I was working from home. And at that time, you couldn't go anywhere. Like you remember, when you go to the store, when you went to the store, they would only let so many people in at a time, right? Then they started letting more people. Then you could start going in bigger bulks. But you remember, everything was, it was social distancing, right? Gyms were closed. Everything was closed, and that was what bothered me, right? It was the separation. It was just kind of the anxiety of not actually being able to interact with people. For me, I didn't care about nobody living with me because my family, and I think that was because me and my friends talked about this too. For me, I didn't care about nobody living with me. I just cared about not being able to be around my friends and my family like I wanted to, right? Because I have family here, excuse me. I have family here, but I couldn't go see them. My family in East Tech, in my hometown, they're about almost an hour and a half away. So it wasn't just easy for me to get down there. So that was where I was struggling with. But for her, she asked him, are they going to quarantine together? Baby, I would have said absolutely not. I don't even know why she did that to herself, because it just would have been a no for me, dog. It would have been a no for me, big dog. It definitely would have had to be a resounding no, right? So they move in together. Again, only known each other for 2 weeks. It's like, damn, that's very, very quick. I get you hit it off with somebody, but no. So she had a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-bath. I think it was like a condo, and he lived in a studio apartment. Girl, he kind of had a come up on you, right? So she also did say that when he moved in with her, he paid for everything in the household, right? Only thing that she paid for was like her car note, her car insurance, and things of that, and her phone bill. And it was cool. So then it's like I told my friend earlier, I'm like, girl, you're on part five. It's going to get worse the more you listen to it, right? Because this man told her at one point he has five siblings, right? Two half brothers by his father. He has two half brothers by his father. He has a brother that he talks to an older brother. He has a younger brother, and he has two sisters. It's okay. Let me remember how it was because he has two sisters, Kim and Shantae. It's Kim and Shantae. Then it's his two brothers, right? It's his two brothers, his older brother and his younger brother, and then it was Kim and Shantae. Oh, and it was three brothers and two sisters, Kim and Shantae. Two of his siblings were outside kids by his dad. That's what it was, right? So he talks to his brother every day on the phone. Now, I'm gonna preference this. I'm gonna say this also, right? She says she would hear him on the phone every day when he get ready for work at 6 o'clock in the morning. She would hear him on the phone. But I'm gonna put a caveat on that. She says she hears him on the phone. No, she doesn't hear any conversations. She just hears him on the phone. So I want you guys to keep that in mind, right? She hears him on the phone. It just it's so weird, right? But she never really had conversations with these people, right? What else? So like he would say in passing, like, "Hey, my brother said what's up," and she like, what's up? It's just it's so weird, right? It is so weird. So at one point in 2020, they were trying to buy a house, right? So I don't remember if I don't remember if it was Capital One or if it was Chase, right? But he had gotten, I guess he had gotten pre-approved for a house. So they were looking for a home, and in the process of buying the home, they were going to like Home Depot and things of that nature, they went and bought furniture, they went and bought appliances. Mind you, they haven't closed on the house yet, but they're in the process of closing. They're in the process of getting the house, right? So they're just buying all this stuff. And once they do close on the house and get ready to move in, then they'll tell, Home Depot, Ashley's, whoever, to deliver said furniture to the new home. Now, the realtor comes in, and the realtor, because he's going to put cash down on this house, right? He's putting cash money down on the home. And I was like, he got a lot, and it's hundreds and thousands of dollars at this point. I'm like, okay, cool. So they asked him to see the, paperwork and all that kind of stuff. He wasn't producing, and I was like, why won't you produce it if you have it if you have this is where she really lost me, the offshore account. I don't trust anybody who say I got an offshore account. I always think of illegalities when it comes to offshore account. I always think of embezzlement, money laundering, things of that nature. She also said that he told her he played it was what kind of football was it? It was a football that she had never. I forgot what it was, and I just looked it up on my phone not too long ago. But he played some kind of football, right? And she said she never heard of it. But I was like, even if you never heard of it, you know his name. Why don't you, like me personally? I'm gonna Google somebody. If you're telling me you've done all this stuff, I'm like, okay, let me go take a look and see if I can find your stats, if I can find some videos of you. She didn't do that. I was like, oh, and the bank was Chase Bank, you guys. The bank was Chase. So mind you, this is 2020. We're still in a pandemic, right? In April of 2020, she found out that she was pregnant. I was like, "Ooh, God!" So you met this man in February, March. You moved him in 2 weeks after knowing him, and now you pregnant in April. Damn, y'all didn't waste no time. My God, my God, my God, my God. So yeah, we got down to the point where they needed to show proof of, the money. He refused to show it. And I'm like, girl, if the man is, if he showed you that, so it was Chase Bank, right? $750,000. If he got approved for that, why can't he show where his, like, I was like, the more I listened to it, it's like, you don't hear the warning signs, the red flags. Okay, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So, like I said, he's paying the bills in the house. So she started questioning herself. So this is when she started questioning herself. So she started taking mental notes. And I think she also said she took some voice notes as well, right? So she also had a miscarriage in July of 2020, right? And let me pause here and move forward, you guys. Okay, you guys. So at one point, I do remember her saying he told her that his parents had passed away. His grandmother had passed away. Now the grandmother, he said that the grandmother passed away due to COVID. I want to say that he said his mom and dad passed away to COVID, but I could be wrong about that. I do know that for a fact he said that the grandmother passed away from COVID, right? On top of that, in July of 2020, so Legion is working at this. So she said Legion was a regional manager for a condiment company, right? She didn't say the name of the condiment company. So also during this time period, he had gotten a promotion to VP. Now, this is not the vice president of the company, you guys. You guys know how, like, so in my company, in my job, we have AVPs, right? So it's not the actual vice president. They're just the AVP. They're just the vice president of that department, right? So he was the AV. He was the vice president. He was the VP of, like, say, let's say sales, production, things of that nature. That's what he got promoted to, right? He got promoted to He got promoted to VP. With that, he got an executive assistant. He also got a company car that was not to exceed a certain amount of money, right? So they went to go look at cars. They went to BMW. They went to Mercedes. They went to Jaguar. They went all over. So he told them, he couldn't go over a certain dollar amount. They test drove cars, right? And I was just, the more she kept talking, I was like, wow, like, this is just, it's screaming fraudulent to me, right? It's screaming fraudulent. So in the process, when she was having the miscarriage, because she started spotting, right? So she went to the doctor, and they told her she was miscarrying, and so she had three options, right? To either expel it herself, take a pill to expel it, or do a DNC, right? So she chose the option of the pill, right? And when she went to the doctor, Legion didn't go with her. He had his executive, so she gave them his number. His executive assistant answered the phone. And she never even went back to that, because I just thought about that. Who the fuck was the executive assistant? Because once we get down to it, who the fuck was on the phone with him, with the doctor? Because, the executive assistant was like, well, you can tell me the information. And the doctor was like, absolutely, hell no, we're not going to do that. HIPAA violations, right? HIPAA violations. The more you listen to it, it just, she's very detailed in her story. She's very detailed. She's very detailed. So yeah, not detailed. She's very detailed, right? So I already told you guys about his grandmother passing away, and at this point, this is where things starting to trickle down and go downhill. So they went and test drove the cars. He at one point convinced her to try to get a car, right? And she said that it was a point that she realized he would do things to her, like take her to look at stuff just to get her to be excited about whatever it is, and then basically rip the rug from underneath her, right? That's really all it was. That's basically what it was. So I know she said it was a Saturday, right? They went out somewhere and they were going back by the office. So he was going to, he said the office is right over there behind that building, right? She's like, okay, well, can we go have a tour of it? He was like, oh yeah, like let me call such and such. And so she said he called such and such. And he was like, yeah, I know it's Saturday and I want to get in and show my wife the build, my office and everything. So do you think you can call so and so? Because I mean, I can get to the floor. My badge can get me to the floor, but I can't get to, I can't get in the door. So I need y'all to help me. Is so and so there? Oh, they not there? Again, mind you, he's having these conversations. She hears him having these conversations, but she doesn't, there's no one on the other side. She also made a point to mention that Legion always has his phone in his left pocket. I was like, okay, very, very weird, right? So that happened. They didn't get the tour because he couldn't get in the building, but he could get, and that's kind of like it is with my job, right? My last three jobs that I've had, except for when I worked for State Farm. When I worked for State Farm, you could get into the building on Saturdays with your badge because the building was open 24 hours a day. Now, my current job and when I worked for Allstate, you could not get in there on the weekends because we weren't open our building wasn't open 24 hours a day. It was Monday through Friday from a certain, because security would still be there at night, but you couldn't get your ass in, right? You could not get in. Trust me, I know because I left something one night and it was 9 o'clock at night and I needed it desperately. And I tried to go up there and the badge wouldn't work. And I actually had to find a security guard. I was like, I left something here. Can I? And I had my badge. I was like, I left something at my desk. Can I go up there and get it? And they had to physically let me in, right? And my current job that I have, our building, it doesn't open. It's not open on Sundays. So you can't get in on Sunday and Saturday. You can go, but the building is open from a certain time. Like say it opens at 9 o'clock in the morning and it closes at noon. Technically, it doesn't close. What happens is the elevators don't work after the elevators don't work before 8 o'clock and they don't work after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, right? So yeah, that's that. But again, like she's not even, it's like you're not even paying attention to the things that's going on. And it's interesting, right? So after the grandmother passed away, he lost other family members, right? So by the end of the year, he's proposed to her. And she said it wasn't a romantic proposal at all. They went and looked for some rings. He told her to pick out the ring. And she said one night they were having dinner and he just put the ring on the table. No, will you marry me or nothing? He said, I guess you're gonna marry me or something to that extent. I was like, damn, no effort whatsoever. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Now, we'll pause here and move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. So now we're going to get into them getting married to each other, right? So they got married in January of 2021, right? Child, now we finna go down. We really finna go down here, right? Because she found out not long after they got married, he was cheating on her because she says she went through his phone. I don't know why she went through his phone, but she went through his phone and she found some messages, right? Where he was talking to another woman and they were supposed to be meeting up to have sex, right? Because she said at one point the woman was like, you gonna come get this. And because he said, you gonna come, oh God. She said that the woman told him, you gonna come get this. And I guess he was like, you gonna come get this. And I was like, wow, okay, Legion, very weird, right? So she confronted Legion about that. And he said that it wasn't nothing, right? Typical, right? So they decided to do marriage counseling. Mind you, they got married and they've only been married for a few weeks at this point. And she also said that they did not do premarital counseling. So they found a pastor and a wife that would counsel them. And I don't think the pastor and the wife, because they were like, y'all, we don't see y'all making it to January of next year. Hell, I didn't either. I didn't even see them making 6 months. So at this point, did she start talking about the ex-wife? I think she started doing some research into him. She did a background check on him because she had something that she had to take. She had something that she had to do a background. Oh, the marriage license. The marriage license. So his social security number. Because at one point she did a background search check on him, but nothing came back. So she was like, well, nothing came back. So maybe getting him, basically, maybe she's getting in his head, right? So then at some point she did another search on him. Was that at this point? When was that? When was that? Oh, so he had already told her that he had so she knew that he had been previously married, right? I forgot that part. She knew that he was previously married. So he was married before. He lived in California. He got divorced in California. He has two stepchildren. He has a stepson and a stepdaughter, right? He says he's very close to the stepdaughter and the stepson. He also said that, when he and his wife got divorced, I think it was some cheating on the wife's part. Also, she wanted money from him, but they had a very amicable divorce, right? This is what he's telling her, right? So I'm laughing because it's terrible to think that somebody could go this far to just to make something up, right? The stepdaughter, right? The stepdaughter allegedly, according to Legion, the stepdaughter got COVID and passed away. We're gonna touch on that again in a little bit, right? The stepdaughter got COVID, passed away. Also, remember when I told you guys they were going looking for cars. So eventually she settled on, she wanted a BMW X3, I believe it was, right? She wanted charcoal interior. I think she wanted a blue, some kind of blue. I think it was blue. I can't remember the exact color on the outside. That's what she wanted. She had her heart set on that. She didn't get that. She had to settle for a Nissan Altima, right? And she showed us a picture of the Altima. So this is where she started doing more research into him, right? Because she wanted to get another job. And so she told Legion she was going to apply for another job. He started laughing at her because he was jealous, you care more about them niggas down there where you work at than you do me. So she said him laughing at her basically fueled her to go look for the other job, right? So when she applied for the job, she had to do a background packet, right? So anybody that's in her household, she had to put their information on there. So she had to put his social security number on there and all that kind of stuff. If you have a criminal background and all that kind of stuff. Now she doesn't really know what's on his background. So she does the background check. She found the information about his ex-wife, right? Now, here's the interesting thing. Remember, I just told you guys that he lived in California, right? He went to I think she said San Diego State. He went to San Diego State. He played football. He got married in San Diego. He got divorced in San Diego. Well, that was all a lie because he got married in Atlanta. He got married down there in Georgia. He got divorced down there in Georgia, right? And so she found that information. She also found the marriage. She found everything, the marriage stuff, the divorce, documents, and she also found the ex-wife's phone number. And so she ended up calling. She ended up calling the woman, right? She ended up calling the woman, and the woman was like, basically like, girl, who the fuck are you and why are you calling me regarding him? She like, once I left that motherfucker, I was done with him. I don't want to have anything to do with him, right? She also found out he never went to San Diego State. She found that out. She confronted him about San Diego State. He said he did go to San Diego State, but he went to San Diego State as a private citizen, but you played football. Okay. So remember, I told you the ex-wife cheated, right? She did find addresses in Rhode Island, Philly, and in Georgia, right? On top of that, there was a restraining order or protection order. Now, speaking of this is that no, that's not this wife. No, it is this wife. So they're at this point we're finding out that there are two ex-wives. There's a Latoya, and then there's this woman that she knows about that he previously told her about, right? I think it's the Latoya woman that he said that she found out abused him, right? But Latoya has spoken out and said that that's not true. Him and this woman that has the stepkids that the stepdaughter passed away, they were only married for 6 months. They were married for 6 months, you guys. And that woman said anything that man has told you, don't believe any of it, right? I was like, fuck. So where are we at now, you guys? I'm remembering things, but I'm also looking at my phone at this, right? So let's just go back to so also, at one point, he took her to his mom and dad. His dad was a pastor. He built the church. He took her to the church. He took her to the cemetery where his parents were buried. God. And so, God, this is terrible. Like when I just say this shit out loud, it's horrible. So he took her to see his parents, right? So she found out that his grandmother, grandmother, 2020, passed away from COVID. Grandmother passed away in 2008. He told her about an uncle that had passed away. That uncle passed away years ago too. His parents passed away years ago too. No one died in 2020 in that man's family. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. So also, remember, I'm telling you guys, the man is on the phone every day with family members and friends and cousins and all this kind of stuff, right? Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I want you guys to keep that in your peripheral. So also in this time frame, he had a knee injury, right? Now, she talked about when she first met him, he was 6'3", 200 something pounds, where 3X. So after the knee injury, he started losing a lot of weight. And I was like, that sound like more than just a knee injury. Because at one point she also found out that he was still cheating on her, and she believes he was sleeping with a SCX worker, right? And I was like, you don't think that maybe he had a STI or STD? Just asking the question, right? Because that's why that's where my mom was going. Like, either he has an STI or STD, or he has cancer or some kind of debilitating disease. That's where my mind kept going, right? So he was bedridden, but he was still making it to work, or he would call out some days, right? And like I said, she found the obituary, right? When she found the obituary, she only saw 2 brothers on there. So Shantae and Kim, these 2 sisters, she didn't see them. And this is for his grandmother. She didn't see Shantae and Kim, right? And she also found the ex-wife, Latoya. So she questioned him about the college. He got upset about that with her. So they got into it right there. So at one point he called his aunt up, right? And this is the point where she was ready to divorce him, because she's found everything at this point, right? She knows that he's lying, so she just wants him to get out the house, right? So the aunt told him, like, come home to Philly. So he went to Philly, right? And he took 2 duffel bags and he left out the house, and that was that. Mind you, this is all in 2021. This is 2021, and they are still newlyweds at this point. Got married in January. This is May of 2021. Like, it's terrible, you guys. It is terrible. So he left, right? When he left, oh my God, when she said that she went in that room, so the man wasn't eating, right? He was just basically drinking Powerades. And so she went into the room. She found the Powerade. She saw the Powerade bottles. She said, Legion, what the hell is this? He was drinking the Powerade, right? And when he had to use the bathroom, he urinated in the bottles, and they were in the room. I was like, girl, I hope You scroll. Oh God, everything that was in that room. I just hope you took it and just burned that shit because that is, yeah, ugh, nasty, 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 right? So she changed the lock, she changed the door, she changed everything, right? Changed everything. And so I think she said at this point, like family members had reached out to her. They found her because he went home. That's what it was. He went home, so he started lying to his family, telling his family that he called her cheating on him with the police officer, and he wanted them to start up, call down there and basically start an investigation to have this guy fired because he caught them in bed together. The guy, pulled a gun on him, so he wants that to be taken. He wants his family to help him with that. I was like, wow, this is getting worse and worse and worse, you guys. All right, guys, so let's pause here and move forward. Now, I did leave something else out. They still continue to look for houses, right? They still continue to look for houses. He got the company car, right? He got the company car, but he wouldn't drive. He would leave the company car at work. He wouldn't drive it home because of the neighborhood they lived in, right? They went to more realtors and, they would look at houses. And when it comes down to show your finances, he wouldn't want to do it, right? So at one point, he wanted them to get a joint checking account. I was like, girl, I hope you did not get no damn joint checking account with him. She was like, nah, I didn't get no joint checking account with him, right? So she didn't get the joint checking account with him because she asked him to see his available cash balances, right? So he goes into the phone, boop, 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 boop. Here's my checking account. In this one, boop, 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 boop. Here's this checking account, right? She's like, okay, so let me see your savings account. No, I'm not gonna show you my savings account. But you say you got money in your savings account, so why aren't you showing it to me? No, I'm not gonna show you that. I'm like, nah, nigga, get the fuck out, right? Get out, right? Get out, get out, get out. So that the last realtor that worked with them, she was just like, you know what? Basically, it's a waste of my time, and I'm not gonna do it. So they ended up not getting a house, right? And everything that she's seeing, he's just like the car. He showed her a picture of the car, right? She never physically saw the damn car. Never once saw the damn car. So after this, like I said, she also talked to the ex-wife, right? She asked the ex-wife, so how is your daughter doing? And the woman was like, what did he say about my daughter? So she didn't tell the woman that he had basically unalived her daughter, right? She also said that, the ex-wife said, girl, don't tell him nothing about me. Don't tell him that you talked to me. None of that stuff, right? So she said, out of respect for her, she never did bring it up to him, right? So, my God, my God, my God, my God, it gets worse. It gets worse. It gets worse. It gets worse, right? So, she talked to one of Legion's cousins, and basically the family doesn't fuck with Legion because Legion is a pathological liar. And she was like, but he talks to his brother, she called him Chris, right? We'll just say Chris, right? He talks to Chris every day. And that woman was like, girl, I'm pretty positive they don't talk to each other. But I'll talk to him and, let him reach out to you, right? And she's like, so what about his sisters, Kim and Shantae? That woman's like, I don't know who the fuck a Shantae is. And she said, Kim is my daughter. That's his cousin. And my daughter wouldn't talk to him. So basically, he owes people money. He owes a lot of people money. Because when she talked to his brother's like, I don't fuck with that nigga. Like, that nigga owe me money. And if I see that nigga, I'm going to whoop his ass, basically, right? So she asked about the other brothers. And he was like, it's only 3 of us, right? He said, I'm the oldest. And he has a twin. And his twin is older than him by 20 minutes. So he's the youngest one. It gets worse. It gets worse, you guys. So she said, so what about your dad's brothers? Your dad's 2 kids. He's like, my dad ain't had no 2 kids outside of my mama. Then she's like, okay, well, what about your parents' church? He was like, if you knew my daddy did not go to church. The last time my daddy was in church was when he got married to my mama. I was like, damn. So what church did y'all go to? What cemetery did y'all go to? So to clear up the cemetery. The cemetery he actually did. He worked at the cemetery at some point, right? So that's how he knew about the cemetery. The church, I don't know. Going back to his job, he did not. He was not the VP at that condiment factory. He worked on a forklift, right? So he was lying about his job. He never had a company car. None of that stuff, right? It gets worse. Now, the things that he's telling her is his twin brother's life. He's living his twin brother's life. I was like, that's when I was like, okay, it sounds like he has a personality disorder. Yes, he's a liar. Yes, he's a gaslight and all this shit. But it sounds like he has a personality disorder, right? So then the brother that she's talking to has a daughter. She's like, her name is Egypt. He's like, I don't know who no damn Egypt is. Because she's like, well, we bought a gift for your daughter's birthday and we sent it to her. He's like, I don't know who y'all sent it to because that y'all didn't send it to my daughter. Because again, he ain't talked to his brother. He said he ain't talked to his brother since 2015 when his parent, when his, I think it was either his mom or his dad, one of his parents died. He ain't talked to his brother since 2015. I was like, well, I'd be good, goddamn. I'd be good, goddamn. Y'all, then it just like I said, the shit just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. Like, my God, it goes worse. So she saw Legion, right? When she filed for divorce, she saw him. He's continuing to lose weight. She said he was living in his car. She said he smelled horrible. And the aunt that they were talking, the aunt, right? The brother said that that's not their aunt. That's his mother's best friend. And she said that he don't trust that hoe. So that woman is thinking they have a baby. Remember, she had a miscarriage. So he's lying to this woman saying they got a kid. He gonna take the kid because she cheated on him and did all this stuff. I was like, oh my God, today. What the fuck? So basically, Legion has burned bridges with everyone in his entire family. So he went and checked himself into like a hospital for a behavioral clinic, right? Just so he can have somewhere to sleep because now we're in the summer and it's hot as fuck. If you guys know anything about the South, right? If you guys know like Georgia, Georgia, Texas, Florida, like I think Florida's hot. I think Florida's hot, but if you guys know anything about the summers here in the South, it is unbearably hot, you guys. It's hot as fuck. So if you sleeping outside, the next morning when you wake up, you're gonna be in a puddle of sweat and you're gonna be smelling like sewage, right? So he did that. So he got out of there. He wanted to come to the house. She was like, absolutely the fuck not. But they weren't divorced. She did get the documents notarized. He signed it, but she has not gotten the final decree of divorce at this point, right? So he knows that he has rights to come and stay in the house. By this point, she said that she was moving out to Cobb County because that's one thing she said. She told him she wanted to live in Cobb County when her lease was up. So she was getting ready to move by August 31st, right, when she was supposed to move in. So she reached out to the landlord trying to get able to move in early. They don't know if they can do that. So she called the police. They told her some things, but they found out that he had a warrant for his arrest, right? And so they told her if he comes to the house, call us, we'll come out and pick him up. And they did come out and pick him up. Again, it gets worse. She did a criminal background check on this man. Because at one point she found where he got fired from the condiment company. Because he was also supposed to be working for Apple at one point. So she's found everything in his duffel bag because in the divorce, everything that was in the house belonged to her. So whatever he had on him belonged to him. Whatever was in the house with her belonged to her, right? So it gets worse. She also found out that he got to go to weekend prison. Never heard of that in my life, right? So I guess he would like go and check in on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and he would get out on Mondays, right? And be out for the rest of the week and then do it all over again until the end of his sentence. Well, she found out that he went to jail for impersonating a cop. He worked at an apartment complex pretending to be a cop. I was like, yeah, this man has identity issues. Like, no. My God. it's just like I said, that's really pretty much it, you guys. Um, that's really pretty much it. But like I said, it's really just a cautionary tale to say, just it's okay to be alone. It's okay to be alone, you guys. And if you see, I'm glad that she did this because some people do this, right? Where you think you got a good person and there are so many red flags, warning signs, and then you just happen to overlook them and just be like, for the sake of, I want to be in a relationship with someone, you will just put up with just about anything. And that's really sad, but because I was looking at her, she's a pretty girl. She's a little thickums. But nothing physically. She's a beautiful girl, right? And I also wondered because she also said that she thought that this was her time, and I was like, oh. So I was thinking to myself like, um, fear, society, depression, insecurities. Sometimes those things can make us do things that if we were and if we worked on those things and conquered those things, we wouldn't put up with certain things in our lives, you guys. That's really what I want to say. But it is a cautionary tale, and the biggest takeaway that I will say that I didn't take anything away from it because I, I'm securing myself. I'm securing myself. I know who I am. I'm good in my life, right? I got my apartment, I got my job, I have everything that I need, right? So I don't physically need anybody for anything. If somebody came into my life and they were like, well, I'll take care of this, it's it's an added bonus, but it's not something that I need, right? It's definitely not something that I need, and I'm not seeking that, right? And I think that might have been a problem, like you were seeking it, and she might not have necessarily done the work internally. I don't know, right? I don't know. But it is a cautionary tale that if something doesn't feel right, then 9 times out of 10 it's not right, right? Don't stay longer than you don't stay any longer than you already shouldn't have stayed, right? And that's really all I got from it. But you guys definitely let me know if you guys watched it, what your thoughts, what your opinions were. It is on YouTube. It's also on TikTok. Go check it out, you guys. But that's it, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section below. You guys subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications on, and share the video, you guys. And until the next time, please stay safe out there, you guys. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll see you guys in the next video, you guys. Bye, guys.